Hello, this is Max Roberts here from Incognito. Some of you know I'm the head of privacy care here. I'm the one who writes the security tips that we send out to you every day, and the person who answers all of your support calls and your support requests, and the one who handles the direct privacy care requests with people who have contacted us through the Talk to an Expert feature within Incognito. Um, but as part of our new VIP webinar series, what I'm going to do is, in addition to providing you with live access to talk to me about problems that you have, or if you have any issues that you might be experiencing, my job is to basically be there for you as a guide, as a support, to essentially give you advice and to essentially ultimately keep you safe. I have, and our company Incognito, we have over 25 years of experience in the world of cybersecurity, ranging everywhere from government espionage all the way down to helping a husband to find out that his wife is spying on his phone. So we know everything, we've seen everything, we've dealt with everything, and now as part of our VIP webinar series, I want to basically take a topic each month or every few weeks. And this one today is safe online shopping practices, which we all shop online. And, if you haven't been scammed yourself, I'm sure you know somebody who has been scammed. There is a lot of scams happening every day of the week for people who are shopping online. They're becoming more sophisticated by the day. You have the rise in artificial intelligence, which is essentially making the scammers appear a lot more legitimate. They're using voice synthetic clones. They're even using deepfake technology to trick people into thinking that they're buying from a reputable website, or that they're seeing a review left by a famous celebrity talking about a product, that they've purchased, which it's all completely fake. So we are definitely living in a brave new world, but we're here to protect you. We're here to keep you safe. And today, for our VIP members, welcome to the VIP club. We're going to just step through a couple of points in terms of safe online shopping practices. So I'm just going to actually get started. So basically, 48 billion in online fraud in 2022. 48 billion with a B. Most of the attacks were happening during the COVID-19 pandemic. And actually, interesting enough, most of like the actual victim demographics in terms of like who's being targeted, there's actually a lot. There's a spike in terms of attacks being targeted towards women between the age of 35 and 44. But, these attacks are happening, to everybody every day of the week. As I said to you, the threats and the attacks are getting much more sophisticated. But with the right common sense approach, with the right defense in depth approach to your security, you can actually protect yourself from 99.999% of the scams by being aware. You have to be aware first. So, there's lots of, just this year so far in terms of the holiday season, there's been over 60,000 scams recorded. Like, and they're just the ones that have been recorded, like the ones that have been reported on. You can assume that number is many, many, many times higher, um, which essentially just brings us into a world where, when we connect to the internet, we are connecting into essentially a vast web that there are cyber criminals out there trying to catch you, trying to scam you. So we're going to help you through protecting yourself. So the first thing is you need to be cautious of fake websites. Only shop on secure, reputable sites. And that sounds very, very obvious, but like one of the members of our community contacted us last week, and they sent me a web page for, I'm not going to say the name of the brand, but it was for a luxury brand name, an international luxury brand name, and they sent me the website, and the website was fake, but it looked identical to the real site. When you looked at the address bar, it actually, to the casual eye, to the casual observer, the actual website address even looked legitimate. There was only one spelling mistake in the name of the brand. So let's just say you're going to Incognito or goincognito.co, which is our website. You know, the actual scammer would have gaincognito.co, which when you look at it first, you think, yeah, I'm looking at Go Incognito. But, you know, if you actually pay close attention to the actual address in the website bar, you know, it actually will tell you a lot about whether it's fake or not. So the first thing is to be very cautious about shopping on websites. Make sure that you only shop on reputable, secure sites. The second thing is that if let's just say you're buying a product that, is very hard to get, and the person is saying, well, before I send you the product, let's say the new PlayStation 5 that came out a couple of years ago, there was a massive rush for people looking to buy PlayStation 5s, and they weren't able to get them because essentially they were sold out on the first day they got sold. But then you had scammers came in and went, oh yeah, well, we'll put up websites to say that, we have PlayStation 5s for sale. Looks legitimate. People are under pressure to get the PlayStation 5 for their child or for their husband, and they essentially go and they engage with a website, and then the actual scammer on the other side saying you have to pay now, you have to pay half up front, or you have to pay through a wire transfer, or you have to pay, using one of the common payment apps like Revolut or one of those online banks. So be careful of that. If people are putting you under pressure, going, well, you have to pay now, you have to pay now. And then to use the PlayStation 5 example, too good to be true deals. Be very, very skeptical about deals that are too good to be true, because these people play on your emotions. They know, in fact, they work with psychologists, like they're very organized scammers. It's not just, the stereotypical, kid in his basement in his mum and dad's house. It's like these are real companies that are operating multi-billion-dollar empires, all built on scamming. And they will put up too good to be true offers. They say, oh, we have the new PlayStation 5. It's available, for the next 2 hours. We have one left, and, you have to pay now, like it just looks too good to be true. Like, do you think you could really get a PlayStation 5 that way? You have to be skeptical. You have to really ask yourself, is this too good to be true? Is this a free offer? Like, what's that phrase, that there's no such thing as a free lunch? There's no such thing as a free thing on the internet. If you see something that's too good to be true, you can most likely assume it's a scam. Then you have pressure tactics used by these guys as well, in that they will see that you've come to their website. You might have given them your contact information. You might have registered your interest by saying, here's my phone number. Then somebody will call you and they'll start putting pressure on you, putting pressure to rush you into buying, saying, well, look, this is only going to last for the next couple of hours. And if you don't do it now, there's 5 people coming behind you who are going to take this deal. And you'd be surprised the amount of people that get hit by this, mostly elderly people who are trying to buy the PlayStation 5 for their grandson, and they don't know a lot about the internet. They might be tricked by a fake website, they might be tricked by a too good to be true deal, and then if they give the person their phone number, that's when they really come in and put pressure on them to essentially get them to pay now, and then not get any product in the post afterwards. And then once your money's gone to these scams, it's gone. You can't get it back, like there are some cases, if you pay by credit card, you can actually have the purchase insured with your credit card company, which I'll get to at the end of this webinar. But if you send cash to somebody over a wire transfer or via a payment app, your money is gone. If you pay something on a fake website, there's a good chance that you won't get it back unless you move really, really quickly. But I guess the thing is, so far, is to be skeptical. Check the websites before you go to them. Read the reviews. Make sure they're secure. Make sure they're using HTTPS in the address bar, which I'll get to in a second as well. So, on to the next slide. So we have also seen a rise in social media ads, because anybody can make an advert and put it on Instagram. Anybody can make an advert and put it on Facebook. And also with the rise in artificial intelligence making adverts for you, you can have Somebody with no technical skill set, no design skills, can build an advert that would compete with some of the biggest brands in the world. And they run these ads, they put them on social media, and then they link them then to the fake websites. And because the person sees it on Instagram, because it is something that looks very, very good, that looks very sexy, that looks very, very alluring, they will then click onto the website. And then once they click onto the website, there's a very good chance that they'll complete the purchase. So when you see adverts on social media, just make sure that you go and you check the account of the person or of the company that's promoting the ad. Go and see how many followers they have. Go and see what people write about in the comments on some of their posts. And then if you link over to their website, make sure you do the check. Is this a real website? What does it say in the address bar? Like, is the address bar spelling correct? Is it using HTTPS to actually secure the transmission? Small checks can save you a lot of time and, most importantly, a lot of money. Use credit cards for payments when possible. Never, ever, ever pay for something doing a wire transfer. Never pay using like these payment apps. If you use a credit card, there's a chance that your purchase will be insured. You also want to set up alerts for unusual activity on your bank account. Because like how many times do people check their bank account? Like, would you check it on a regular basis? Is it a case that you don't check your bank account that often? And then when you do check it, you see that 5,000 has been taken out because you gave your credit card information to a dodgy company who sold your credit card on the internet and essentially cleared your account out by 5,000 or 10,000 or the actual maximum. So if you have alerts for unusual activity set up on your credit card or set up on your bank, and you can contact your bank, you can contact your credit card company, you can say, I want to set up alerts that essentially monitor for unusual activity. Because when you put your credit card out there, like even when you put it out there with a reputable site, like we're seeing a lot of reputable websites are being hacked into, and people's credit card information that they store on these websites are being stolen. So even if you're using a reputable site, just be careful about where you share sensitive information, like bank information, like the CVV on the back of your credit card, which, if the person has your credit card number, if they have your expiry date, and if they have the CVV from the back of it, they essentially own your credit card now. And if they don't use it immediately, it will be sold on the dark web. And, you will be one of the many millions of people every year who has their bank accounts completely emptied. Research, 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 research. If you are planning to buy something, if it's not on a reputable website, don't do it. But if you do want to continue down that road, just research, look up the seller's name, like type in the name of the seller plus the word scam and see if these people have been involved in scams in the past. And the actual internet has a huge, huge amount of information out there, like that, these people can't hide, but they rely on the fact that people don't go and research. The most important thing, though, is you have to trust your instincts. Your gut will always tell you if you're listening to your gut. If you're unsure, walk away every single time. If you feel that it's too good to be true, or you feel that this is a scam, firstly, you can contact us. You can contact me directly because you're part of the VIP club now. You can see in the section of the app for VIP, you can just actually start a live chat with me and you can say, hey, Max, listen, I'm thinking of buying from this website here. What do you think? And then I'll go and check it out for you and I will tell you. Or you can use the Incognito website checker as well, which is basically built into the application. You can just type in the website address and we'll tell you if it's a scam or not. The next thing is to only shop with secure websites and secure connections. Now, when I say secure websites, you see the little video playing there on the left-hand side? I'll play it again. This is the address bar. So when you are going to a website to buy something, you want to make sure that you're always going to a website that is HTTPS. I can't actually play it again, but it has to have HTTPS and the padlock here on the left hand side, which shows you that the website is secure, which it means that when you type in any information or when you give credit card information, it's secure. It means that it is encrypted. It means that it cannot be stolen. It cannot be viewed by a third party while you're typing it in. If you give your credit card information to a website that doesn't have this padlock here, you are literally asking to be robbed because it happens every single day of the week. Make sure that you're using private browsing, using a VPN. Use a VPN to connect so that people can't intercept your traffic. If you're using public Wi-Fi, if you're using free Wi-Fi, you don't know who is sitting on that Wi-Fi connection, listening to everything you say. Because if somebody's on your Wi-Fi, they can see what you say, they can see what you type, they can grab your credit card information. So using a VPN will essentially alleviate a lot of the risks of Wi-Fi eavesdropping, but just make sure that you don't use free website or that you don't use free public Wi-Fi. Never ever save personal information on websites ever. Like don't actually save my username and password or save my credit card. Don't save anything. Type it in every time because if you save it on their website, even if they are reputable, like there's 100 examples every month where reputable companies are being taken down and all of their customer information, credit card information, shipping information, browsing habits, shopping history is just being stolen and sold on the dark web because there's a massive business. Like one of the most valuable things in the world right now, it's not gold, it's your information because your information can be used against you for identity theft. Your information can be used against you, like if they have your credit card information, you are very vulnerable unless you're following simple practices. Go to secure websites, make sure you're using a VPN, etc. It's like small things like that. When you do pick passwords, make sure you use a strong password. A strong password is your first line of defense. If you don't have a strong password, it's like not having a lock on the front of your house. It's like leaving your front door wide open when you leave your house or when you leave your apartment or if you leave your boat or you leave wherever it is you live in the world. If you don't have a strong password, you're just inviting somebody to come in and steal everything that's protected behind that password. Like let's just say you have an Amazon account and you're using a password 123 exclamation mark. That is so easy to break. That can be broken in seconds. It can be broken in the blink of an eye because it's a very common password. You think it's not because you're using the exclamation mark at the end of it, but you have to start adopting a policy of strong passwords. Now, the characteristics of a strong password is that it has to be long, it has to be complex, it has to be unique, between 8 and 10 characters long, not your dog's name, not your wife's name, not your son's date of birth or your daughter's date of birth or your grandmother's date of birth. It can't be that because that's all stuff that can easily be found on the internet. If you're on Facebook, they can find out your favorite color and then they can find out your grandmother's date of birth. And then most people combine their favorite color with the grandmother's date of birth. And using these password cracking tools, you just basically say, here's some of the password combinations it could be. It goes off, it guesses your password in a few seconds, and boom, the person's into your account. That's why you use long, complex, and unique passwords. You could even say, for example, like take a phrase like I like to go to the park and change all the vowels to numbers, change the S's to dollar signs, change the threes to pound signs. So you actually know what the actual password is, and then you know in your mind how you're going to basically convert it into the password by changing the number or by changing the vowel to a letter or something like that. Never use personal information or common words. I know it's a pain to maintain a list of strong passwords, but it really, really is the first and foremost thing that you need to do when you're shopping online. That, as well as using two-factor authentication, that's an extra layer of security that you can have on your account. So what I mean by two-factor authentication is that when you type your password in to the website, they'll say, we're going to send a code to your phone. and you have to enter the code in, or using one of the authenticator apps from Microsoft or from Google, um, they essentially add a massive layer of security. If you're not using two-factor authentication, it's like having a good lock on your door but leaving your kitchen window open. You know what I mean? So you have to basically make sure that you lock the door, you lock the windows, you close everything down. You can't just have one thing in place. Make sure that each password is different for every account, because there's a thing called credential stuffing. And what happens with credential stuffing is that, let's just say you have a Yahoo account, and there was a massive breach of Yahoo accounts a couple of years ago where people's username and passwords got exposed in the breach, like for hundreds of millions of people, they got exposed. So they now have, let's just say, maxroberts at yahoo.com. They know maxroberts at yahoo.com, and they know the password that I used for my account at that time. So what they do is they then go and they go, right, well, if he's using that password for this website, he's probably using the same password for other websites. So they go and they try and log into other websites using the same password. Now, most people use the same password. If you do use the same password, coming back to the analogy of the house, it's like essentially you basically have a really secure lock on your door, but you leave the key under the mat, and you're using the same lock for every door in every house you own. So it's the same door for, or it's the same key for your car, it's the same key for your house, it's the same key for your safe. So if the person gets the key, they have access to everything. That's why you have to have different keys for different doors, different passwords. Now, it's actually not that hard to maintain multiple passwords, because if you use a password manager, and the password manager that, well, in fact, I'm not going to actually recommend them, but if you just do a search online for good password managers, you'll find loads and loads of them. And what they do is you essentially have one strong password, really strong password, that essentially gets you into your password manager. And then inside of your password manager, you have all of the accounts, and you have all of the passwords for each account. So you don't have to remember those. All you have to do is remember your one password. And actually, the tool that I would recommend, it's actually called One Password. And it is a very, very effective tool. They're very secure. They've never had any breaches. They're they're just, like, from what I can tell, one of the best in the business. But just go and search for password managers, and you will find a password manager that you can use. They're very easy to install, very easy to set up, and yeah. So strong passwords, two-factor authentication, diverse passwords, and a password manager to essentially keep everything secure. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about recognizing and avoiding online scams. Now, the first big one is phishing scams, or sorry, phishing emails, fake websites. So, what a phishing email is, they send out, like when you go fishing in the sea or in the river or in a lake, you essentially put your line out and you hope that a fish bites. Or you can go down to the lake and you can put 1,000 lines in and hope that one fish will bite. It's the same with a phishing email. What they do is they send out millions of emails saying, we've the new PlayStation 5, and if you click here now, you have 2 hours to basically get it, blah, blah, blah. And then you click on it and you go through to a website that looks legitimate. If you haven't checked the address bar, if you haven't checked the HTTPS, and again, ask me, I will tell you every single time, because for me, this is essentially my bread and butter. I can spot a fake website from 100 miles away, so use me, contact me in the chat, ask me, Max, is this a legitimate site? But what people do, or what cyber criminals do, is they essentially send out millions of emails and hope that people click on them. Even if they get 1% of people to click on it. Let's say you send out a million emails and 1% of them click on it, and then a further 1% of them are convinced into your scam. You send out a million emails, and the scammer can make 20 grand in a second by all of the people he sent it out to. So just watch out, like, for in your email account for for uh, or phishing emails that essentially take you to places to buy, things that are usually too good to be true. If there's any sort of an urgency, if there's any unusual payment methods, if they don't give you contact information, like for any reputable website, you'd be able to find their phone number. You'd be able to find their website address. Or sorry, you'd be able to find their business address. Go and call the company. Like if you receive an email from, let's say, PlayStation 5 or from Sony saying, "Hey, how's it going, Max? You've been selected. As we are going to give you a PlayStation 5. If you just, pay the shipping costs. So you just have to pay $20 in shipping costs. We're going to give you a PlayStation 5. You can just actually ring them up and say, guys, I just want to know, is this actually legitimate? You know what I mean? And they'll be able to tell you if it is legitimate. But you have to essentially protect yourself. Before you click, you want to check if it's legit. When you click, you want to check it's legit. You want to check every single step of the way. Is this right? Is this correct? Contact me. I will help you in a second. I'll be able to tell you if it's safe or not. But you can use your own intuition. You can use the skills and the tools that I'm giving you here today. Just use your common sense. That's essentially what these scammers rely on. They rely on people to do stupid things by being really urgent, by essentially being involved in some emotional products, like let's say maybe wedding dresses or, gifts for Christmas. Hard to find gifts for Christmas. You really want to get this new toy for your child because everybody in the street has it. These people know that and they will target you and go, hey, we can give you that for the low price of X. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But one of the most important things as well is you have to not only be suspicious, but you have to report the scams. Because as I said at the top of the presentation, 60,000 scams have been reported so far over the Christmas holiday period. But that's only because people have clicked on to report a scam. If you don't report it, then you're not protecting the people coming behind you. So please, 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 when you do see a scam, when you do successfully avoid it, give yourself a big pat on the back saying, I wasn't scammed today. But then you have to report it so people, who are coming behind you won't be scammed, in the same way. So the next slide is safe payment methods. So when you're purchasing something online, always pay using a credit card. Never do a wire transfer. Now when I say a credit card, that means you can pay by PayPal, you can pay using your credit card directly. If I were you, I would set up a virtual card. If your payment company allows this, ring them up and say, is it possible that I can get a virtual credit card? Because, you know, if you can avoid using the credit card that's in your pocket, that's in your wallet, that's in your purse that you use every day, like you don't want to be putting that information online because that's your primary credit card. But what a lot of these online banks do, such as Revolut, is that they actually allow you to create virtual cards or one-time payment cards. So you can pay and then as soon as you use it, it's basically gets deleted. So even if the scammer gets hold of your credit card information and they try to use it again, it has already been deleted and it can't be used again. So one of the Incognito community, I was having a chat with them on a privacy care call last Wednesday, and they essentially were explaining to me that they have a virtual card that they essentially set up. They use it to make a transaction and then they freeze it so it can't be used again until they make another transaction. There are things that, add a little bit of process to your day, but, you're basically in a world online where you're being attacked by millions of scammers every day. So, like, the thing that's going to protect you is your process. The thing that's going to protect you is how you check things. Using credit cards that are in your purse or in your wallet's a bad idea because if they get exposed, it's game over. So basically use virtual cards if you can. Use things like PayPal. You can use Apple Pay. You can use Google Pay. That adds a layer of protection to your purchase. So with most credit cards, you're insured as well. So if you buy something and you don't get delivery of it, there's a good chance that based on the type of credit card you have, you can call your credit card company and they will be able to refund. They'll be able to refund what you have paid or what you have been scammed. Now, this is bad for the credit card industry, which is why most credit cards have such a high interest rate, is because they're being scammed every day as well. There's just scammers are scamming everybody. They're scamming you. They're scamming your grandmother. They're scamming the credit card company. They're scamming the shop. They're scamming everywhere. It actually really is quite frightening, the amount of scams that are happening every day. The next slide is do not, sorry, do not, never ever do a direct bank transfer, because that is a way that, if it goes wrong, you will never get your money back because it's gone. If you pay somebody using Western Union or one of the wire transfer apps, you are literally begging to be robbed, and you will not get your money back. Like, you won't be able to go into the wire transfer and say, listen, I sent 5,000 over to somebody in Asia and they were lying to me. Can I have my 5,000 back? It's gone, and you can check the seller's payment policy as well. Go and read everything before you give your hard-earned money away. Do your research. Find out if it's safe or not. Find out if it's a real website. Find out if this company or this person is a known scammer. But and use your credit card, like for all payments. Never ever do a direct wire transfer. I cannot overstate that enough to you. If you do, yeah, you actually might be okay, but the chances are that if you get scammed, you're never going to get your money back. On most of these websites, on places like Amazon, you can manage your privacy settings. Go and look for what their privacy settings are. Don't save anything. Always type it in fresh every time. I know it's really convenient to save your credit card, but if you save your credit card on the website, if that website gets robbed or if that website is not legitimate, you've just essentially handed over your credit card information, to a company that may not be looking after it the correct way. So, don't type in too much information on these e-commerce sites. Use a guest account if you can. Like, you don't need to save your credit card information. You can just type it in every time. And if you are using virtual cards, then, you're going to have to type it in every time as well. Like there, as I said, use guest checkouts to avoid unnecessary data sharing. And always read their terms and conditions. Go and read them. Like if you're making a significant purchase with a company, read their terms and conditions, because they could actually scam you just inside of the terms and conditions. It's called a bait and switch technique. So they basically sell you one thing, but then if you read the fine print, you're not actually buying it. You're buying a share of it, or you're buying, a small version of it. You think you're buying a 20-foot swimming pool online, but you read the small print and you're actually buying a 1-foot swimming pool. Okay, not a 1 foot, but a 5-foot swimming pool online. Read the terms and conditions. This is really, really important. You are literally giving this company access to your financial means. So you want to make sure that you can trust them. You also want to keep track of your transactions. Keep an eye on your bank account. Look for unusual activity. What these people do as well, or what these companies do, is when they get your credit card, they do a test transaction, maybe €1, €2, just a couple of dollars, just to see if the credit card works. Now, if you look at your bank account on a regular basis, or if you read your credit card statements on a regular basis, then you'll see, well, hang on, that company that I don't know who they are, they've just charged me €1. It means that it's the precursor to the bigger attack, because they now know, A, your credit card works, they know there's money on it, and then they can go and sell that on the dark web, and they can go, yeah, we have a bunch of 5,000 credit cards here that we've done tests on. We can confirm every one of them works as of yesterday. And then they sell them on to somebody else, and then boom, your account gets emptied. So you want to keep receipts if you ever need to make a claim back. But most importantly, set up alerts for large transactions. Review your credit cards on a regular basis. And again, report any suspicious transactions, because if you're a victim, you have to deal with it fast. So, what to do if you're a victim? So, let's just say, you do get scammed, or let's just say, you do see an unusual charge on your bank account, or you log on to your credit card, or you try and use it and your money's all gone. The first thing you do is you disconnect from the internet and you change all your passwords. That's the first thing. Then you contact your bank and your credit card company immediately and you tell them what has happened. You have to have receipts. You have to, sorry, not receipts in this case, because there actually are no receipts. But you need to contact your bank and let them know, because your bank can help you. Your credit card company can help you. If you're insured, then they will be able to give you your money back if you handle it correctly. Check your other accounts. See if anything else has been compromised. If two-factor authentication is on, has somebody switched it off? You might have to freeze your bank account or set up a fraud alert. Contact your bank. They can help you with all of this. They are trying to reduce the amount of fraud, the amount of scams, because when one of their customers gets scammed, it's bad for them. It's bad for business. I actually did some work with a major international bank a couple of years ago, and I was giving them advice about customer scams and that. And they told me, and I'm not going to say the name of this crowd, but like most people in the world will have heard of them. Um, but they have a team of maybe 50 people, and what they do is they essentially just put money back into their customers' accounts, because they know some of the time before you even know you've been scammed. So your account could be emptied and they'll put the money back in, because they don't want to be seen to be vulnerable to these types of attacks. So depending on your bank, like they may just give you your cash back, really quickly. But the most important thing is you have to essentially deal with it fast. So, success story: overcoming online shopping fraud. So Jane Doe, frequent online shopper, she essentially got targeted for identity theft, and the people gained access to her credit card to make unauthorized purchases. The first thing that she did was she reported it to the authorities, and she reported it to her bank. And the only reason she was able to do that was because she was keeping an eye on her credit card. She was keeping an eye on her bank statements. Like, if this is something that happened a month ago, it's going to be a lot harder to make a claim. If you check your credit card on a daily basis, like, it takes 5 seconds. Just have a quick look, see if there's any unusual transactions in the past 24 hours. And if you see one, you have to know how to report it. And in this case, Jane Doe, very diligent person, she reported it not only to the police, but also to the bank authorities. They were able to basically start a refund process, and Jane essentially got her cash back within a couple of days, and the bank put in place credit card monitoring was initiated because she acted so fast. The thing is, when these things happen, you have to move quickly. You have to move really fast. Otherwise, the scammers, taking advantage of the fact that most people don't check their credit cards. Like, it could take you months to actually see that you've been robbed, particularly if you have a really high limit on your credit card. And if you're not keeping an eye on it, then you won't be able to get it back. But Jane got her money back, and then from a proactive measure perspective, she started using stronger passwords. She put in place two-factor authentication. She removed her main credit card, started dealing with virtual one-time credit cards, and she checked her account more regularly. So the key lesson is, if you want to be like Jane, and yeah, we get robbed every day of the week, it happens, and like I said, these cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated by the hour. The rise in artificial intelligence, guys, it's scary. It actually scares me. And I've been in this world my whole life, well, my whole career, and for 25 years, and I've seen everything. But what I'm seeing is that 2024, we are going to see a massive spike in fraud, in scams, because they know how easy it is to scam people. They can send out a phishing line to 1 billion people over the weekend. They only need 1% of those to click on it. And then they only need 1% of them to engage with it. And they've become very wealthy overnight. So there's a massive incentive. And then you can also go on the dark web. Like, let's just say you have no technical skills and you want to become a scammer. You can just go onto the dark web and you can find one of, a lot of websites. I'm not going to tell you where they are because I don't want to give these scumbags any any sort of a marketing advantage. But you can go onto these dark websites and you can buy, tools that you can use to become a scammer overnight. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to understand technology. These companies who sell these scamming tools, who sell these ransomware tools, who sell there's literally, a vast, um, there is a vast array of threats and tools that can be used, but you can go online and buy these tools and essentially go and use them, and then you just pay a percentage to the company who's made the tools. So, 2024, it's going to get worse. 2025, it's going to get worse. But if you're paying attention, and the first thing is make sure your door is locked, make sure your windows are locked. You know what I mean? That will essentially, secure you 90% of the way. Prioritize only shopping on secure websites. Use strong passwords. Be really, really vigilant. Look for the scam. You should assume that somebody's trying to scam you. That's that's the way you should adopt, or that's the way you should adopt your thinking is you should assume that when somebody contacts you, they're trying to scam you. And if you approach it in that way, then you will always be skeptical. You will always be vigilant. Only use safe payment methods. Like, use credit cards. Never do bank transfers. If you do bank transfers, and it goes wrong, your money's gone. If you pay using credit card, there's a good chance that you get your money back. Using a virtual credit card means that if your credit card gets exposed, then it's fine because the actual scammer won't be able to use it because it was a one-time use. Staying informed and proactive against fraud. Continue reading the tips that I send out. I hope you like the tips. I hope that they are relevant to you. We are also going to be launching a new scam watch facility where we're going to be keeping track of all the scams that are happening around the world, and we'll be alerting you about them. So, this is a scam that was identified in your area in the past 24 hours. Watch out for somebody sending text messages pretending to be, let's say, the IRS if you're in America, or, let's say it's from, let's say, somebody like UPS or FedEx. We just need you to pay the little bit of shipping costs and we'll be able to send you your new PlayStation 5. We're going to be keeping track of all those and keeping you aware and keeping you informed. But the great thing is, because you're an Incognito VIP, if you have any questions, you can just ask me. Live chat, I'm here all the time, all the time. If you need anything, if you're worried about anything, just ask me and I'll be able to help you. We have a team of experts who we work with who care, and we have a lot of empathy. It's not like we're trying to use big, massive security terms. We can talk to you in your language at your level of technical skill set, because if you can't explain it simply, it means you don't understand it. And we understand security. We understand the threats that you're facing. We understand the mindset of the scammer. We understand the mindset of the cyber criminal because we have worked with them. We've dealt with them. We've talked to them. So if you have any questions, give me a shout and I will help you personally and directly and quickly. We also will be running more of these webinars. The next one, I'm not actually sure which one it's going to be. We have five that I'm looking at right now. Um, and we also have now a Discord channel as well, where you can go on and talk to other VIP members as well as people from our team who will be in there moderating, who'll be in there keeping an eye. If you have any questions, just ask us because we are definitely facing into a brave new world. Like the days of scamming 20 years ago. It may as well be 5,000 years ago in terms of how quickly this is evolving, and 2024 is it's gonna be crazy. But stay calm, read the tips, and talk to Max. You have a question, just come and ask me, and I'll be able to help you. So that concludes our first Incognito VIP webinar hosted by me, Max Roberts. And if you have any questions, contact me through the app. You can also send an email to hello@goincognito.co. And I thank you very much for your time, and I send you all the best to wherever you are in the world, from the green country of Ireland, which is where a lot of our team are based. Cold, wet, but green Ireland. We send you all the best, and look forward to talking to you soon.